Well, it's that time of the year again. We know about my 2019 predictions. We got some stuff right.
I'm putting the Phillies in 4th place.
We got some stuff wrong. World Series champion for 2019, winning in a 6-game series, is going to be
the 2019 New York Mets. That's right.
But we're coming back for the 2020 season. We're coming in hot. We're looking to be absolutely perfect this year. Will it happen? Of course not. Predictions for a season are almost impossible to get perfect. 60 games this year, something we've never seen, at least not in my lifetime. There's going to be some crazy stuff that goes on this year, some crazy outcomes, but at the end of the day, we're going to be excited because baseball's back and maybe a little bit of normalcy returns to our lives. So I'm going to go through every division, every team, give you my thoughts and opinions on them, tell you where they're going to finish in their division, playoff predictions, World Series predictions, MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, everything going on this year. We're talking about it. So if you guys could show me some love, drop a like on this video. A lot of time and work goes into these. That would be greatly appreciated. If you do like baseball content, this is going to be the place that you want to check out. If that sub button was red, it means you're not subscribed. Click that sub button so you don't miss out on any of the content. Remember to get in the comment section down below. I want to hear what you guys say. I know you're going to disagree with me. I don't care. I want to know your thoughts and opinions. Let me know your predictions down below. And also, if you guys want to continue the conversation, follow me on some other social media, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. Everything is GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description as always. So it's about that time to get started on the 2020 predictions. We're going to get it started off with the National League this time. Start off with the NL East. 5th place in the National League East, not changing from the 2019 season. We're going to go with the Miami Marlins. So for the Marlins are actually a better team than they were last year. They got a lot of young talent, and I fully expect them to bring up some guys this year. They added Jesus Aguilar, who's going to be playing first base. Brian Anderson, I'm a huge fan of. I think if a full season happened, he had 30-30 potential, talking 30 homers and 30 doubles. They got Corey Dickerson, who's a professional hitter. Jonathan Villar, who might be playing a little bit of center field. He had a nice year last year with Baltimore. And their pitching, while again doesn't have one of those absolutely dominant #1 ace type arms just yet, Sandy Alcantara is really good. Caleb Smith's a good arm. We might see Sixto Sanchez get some time this year. Bullpen's a bit of a question mark for sure, but I mean, that's why they're a 5th place team. They're just not ready yet. In 4th place in the National League East, we're doing it for the 2nd year in a row. Say it with me. The Phillies are a 4th place team. Yes, the Philadelphia Phillies are my team for 4th place in the National League East. The Phillies are a 4th place team. I just don't understand why people think they're going to be so good this year. I don't see it. Their pitching is not good. You got Aaron Nola, who's really good. And I'm actually high on Zach Wheeler, but there is still a possibility that you get the Zach Wheeler that we've been seeing recently. After that, you're relying on Jake Arrieta, who's coming off a season-ending injury last year and wasn't pitching well. And then Pavetta, Velasquez, Eflin, who are always question marks and have yet to show any consistency in being a good pitcher. Bullpen, crazy bad. Hector Neris is good, and then that's it. Lineup, you got some great spots. JT Realmuto, best catcher in the league. Hoskins is a solid first baseman. And of course, Bryce Harper in the outfield. You can't forget him. But Didi Gregorius is a below average shortstop now in baseball. We know that's the case. Gene Segura, whether you play him at 2nd or 3rd, is below average at both of those positions. And then in the outfield, you're going to have Hazley and Roman Quinn in center. McCutchen coming off major knee surgery last year. There's just a lot of issues and holes for me in that Phillies lineup where I can't physically put them higher than 4th place. Gotta be the most overrated team in baseball. In 3rd place, we're going with the defending World Series champions, Washington Nationals. They're going to be a great team this year. Now, it's hard to put the Nationals in 3rd, of course, coming off a World Series win. Maybe we get a little World Series hangover. We've had some guys that have already opted out of the season from that team. I can see the Nationals just kind of taking their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. That being said, still a very good team. You've got Trey Turner at shortstop, one of the most underrated players in baseball. Juan Soto's unbelievable. Victor Robles is really good. Adam Eaton is a underrated player. The pitching is still ridiculous with Scherzer, Strasburg, and Corbin. They improved their bullpen, grabbing Will Harris. They brought back Daniel Hudson, Sean Doolittle. The Nationals are still very good. I just got them in 3rd place. 2nd place, here come the comments. I can see them already. We've got my favorite team, the New York Mets. Of course they're going to be in 2nd place. Here they are, my New York Mets. Ooh, I could talk about this team for hours. First base, Big Meat Pete Alonso. Do I need to say more? The guy crushed 52 homers last year. He's going to be hitting homers again this year. I'm excited to see him play. Shortstop Ahmed Rosario had a hot 2nd half. That is way more of the player we expect him to be in 2020, and I expect him to take steps forward. 3rd base, Jeff McNeil, so good. Outfield, you got Conforto, you got Nimmo, you got JD Davis, you got Cespedes, you got Marisnik, who's going to be out there playing center field a bit. Center field's their weak spot, but we are loaded in the corners. Conforto is so good. Yoenis Cespedes, if he's actually healthy, you know what this guy can do? Do you remember when he played? He was disgusting. We got a deep bench. We got DeGrom on the mound, little Marcus Stroman action. Steven Matz started to pitch well the 2nd half of the year last year. The bullpen, that's where it scares me. We got Lugo. Wilson was really good. That's a positive. If Diaz and Familia aren't good, we aren't going anywhere this year. So I'm banking on them being good this year. That's why I got them at 2nd place. And then in 1st for the National League East, the best team in the division in my eyes, without a doubt, it's going to be the Atlanta Braves. How can you not put them in 1st? They improved their team so much, grabbing Cole Hamels to help out with that back end of the rotation, give them a little more consistency. They added Will Smith to the bullpen. They brought back Chris Martin. They got Shane Green. They got Mark Melancon, Soroka, Fultonavich, Max Fried. And then the lineup. Yeah, Freddie Freeman might miss a little bit of time due to being sick, but you got Ozzie Albies. You got Dansby Swanson, who's getting better every year. Marcelo Zuna in the outfield. Acuna. Ender Inciarte. Maybe they bring up Pache or Waters. I don't know. This Braves team's loaded, and I just don't don't see how they don't win the division. They are still the best team in the National League East. So we've seen the National League East. Let's move on to the National League Central now. And starting us off in 5th place in the National League Central, I think it's going to be fairly obvious. There's one team that just doesn't fit, and that's the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pittsburgh Pirates aren't very good. They weren't very good last year. They started off hot, but I don't expect them to do that again this year. I think what we saw at the end of the year is a lot more of the team that they are. One good thing, though, is that they're getting a new culture in there. They've got a new manager. They've got a new GM. The future is going to look bright. But right now, there aren't a whole lot of bright spots. You got Josh Bell. You got the guys up the middle who are nice little players, but can't carry a team. Brian Reynolds in the outfield, who I'm a huge fan of. Gregory Polanco should be coming back healthy this year, hopefully. Pitching still a big question mark, though. A lot of guys that you're unsure about. A lot of uncertainty with the Pirates. A lot of stuff that needs to be proven, and I just can't put them higher than 5th place because of that. In 4th place in the National League Central, probably going to be one of the more disappointing teams of the 2020 season. We're going with the Chicago Cubs. For the Chicago Cubs, I said it earlier, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse, and that's what happened this offseason for the Cubs. They made almost no additions, and none that are really going to be significant enough to make them better. Now, at the plate, they're going to hit. You got Rizzo, you got Contreras, you got Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, Ian Happ. The lineup is really good, but the pitching is just so weak. You're relying on old, ailing veterans. Jose Quintana's been getting nicked up. John Lester's not the same pitcher that he once was. And Yu Darvish, it depends what Yu Darvish you get. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? He's so streaky. They're relying heavily on Craig Kimbrell, who had a horrible 2019. I don't see them doing much this year. 4th place. 3rd place, just missing out on a 2nd place spot. It's ever so close, but I'm going with the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers definitely lost some pieces. You lost Mike Moustakas, which is going to be a killer. You lost Yasmani Grandal, but you still got one of the best players in the league in Christian Yelich. Lorenzo Cain holds down center field, even if he's not going to hit. They added Avisail Garcia. They added Brock Holt, Eric Sogard, Justin Smoke, Omar Narvaez behind the plate. They got these little pieces that may not be able to completely fill in what they've lost, but they are able to now have good players at those positions, and they're not hurting. Pitching's always a question mark for them, but what they do have is an absolutely filthy bullpen with Josh Hader locking it down the back end. And in a short season like this, I can see them having a really good year. 3rd place. 2nd place in the National League Central. Like I said, so close with 3rd place. It's going to be the St. Louis Cardinals, who won the division last year, finishing in 2nd place this year. Cardinals are a tough team to talk about because, like, they're good, but they're also not good, but they're also good. Yachty behind the plate, he's getting old. Goldschmidt's good, and that's even after a down year. I'm still high on Goldschmidt. Colton Wong, lockdown second baseman, great defense. Paul DeYoung, what kind of version of him are you going to get at short? Hits for power, plays good defense, but will he be able to do it for a full season? The outfield, there's a lot of question marks, a lot of holes. Like, are you going to rely on Dexter Fowler? Is he going to be an everyday guy? Tommy Edmonds a really good bat. Pitching, you got Jack Flaherty, who's one of the best young pitchers in the game. Miles Michaelis, Dakota Hudson. Bullpen's nasty. Gallegos was really good. Brebbia, John Gant, Andrew Miller. Alex Reyes will probably come up, so that will help out their starting pitching for sure. I just got questions on the offense, but still, 2nd place, that's a good finish. Which leads us now to the 1st place team in the National League Central. You already know who it's going to be by process of elimination, but they had an amazing offseason. They got some great pitching. We're going with the Cincinnati Reds. You know I'm big on the Reds. I made the video about them having the weakest schedule. I got to put them in 1st place. Weak schedule plus good team equals 1st place finish. They added Nick Castellanos. They added Mike Moustakas. The pitching, really good on the starting end. Castillo, Gray, Bauer, even Desclafani. Eugenio Suarez is so good. Derek Dietrich off the bench, being a DH option. Nick Senzel, Jesse Winker, even Wade Miley, who everyone forgets about. What a great pickup for the back end of the rotation. Iglesias, Garrett Lorenz, and Pedro Strop. I love those 4 arms. I just think the Reds with that easy schedule, they're my 1st place pick in the National League Central. So the Central's shaking it up a little bit. Got some new faces up at the top. For the National League West, though, a lot's gonna look pretty similar. For the 5th place team, you know them as liars. They can't be trusted. That's an OG shout out to one of my videos. We're going with the San Francisco Giants, clearly the worst team in the National League West. So the Giants are really bad, and I know I give them a lot of crap, but there's good reason. The team's just not very good. Buster Posey opted out, so now you're gonna be rocking maybe Joey Bart back there, but if not, Tyler Heineman, Rob Brantley, Chadwick Trump, no. First base, Brandon Belt and Wilmer Flores. You know, I'd love me some Wilmer. Got Brandon Crawford at short. He's just not a good player anymore. Evan Longoria at 3rd. He fell off the face of the earth. He's not very good anymore. And in the outfield, Hunter Pence is probably your DH now, because that's what he did last year. But like Yastrzemski, great season. Will he be able to replicate it again? Alex Dickerson, that doesn't get me excited. And then pitching side, not good. Cueto coming off injuries. Jeff Samardzija, Gosman, Drew Smiley, like that's not a rotation that you think is going to be a winner. And then relievers, like it's Tony Watson. Everybody else is a question mark, and the rest of the arms out there don't get you excited. So they're 5th place. They're clearly the worst team in the West. 4th place in the NL West. It was very, very tough, very close, but I'm still going to go with the Colorado Rockies. They got a lot of great players. Oh, I just want to make the Rockies good, but it doesn't happen. The pitching is just too weak. Something happens for them on the road. They play horrendously, and that's just what hurts them every year. Plus, they don't don't really have much of a bullpen either. And in a short season like this, you need that. Obviously, you've got the big names. You've got Blackmon, Story, Arenado, David Dahl, Daniel Murphy. Then you have questions at catcher, first base, second base, the other outfield position. And we haven't even addressed the pitching yet. German Marquez and John Gray are good pitchers. I actually like them a lot. But Freeland took a massive step back. Antonio Senzatella, Chichi Gonzalez, no one gets excited about those arms. And the bullpen's bad. I just can't see them finishing above 4th place. They got too many issues. 3rd place, a much better team, and they're looking forward to the future. The San Diego Padres. Ooh, the Padres are going to be a really fun team to watch in 2020. A young team who's starting to bring up even more talent now, and they're getting better. Manny Machado and Tatis on the left side of the infield, though, that's something special. Big fan of those guys. You got Tommy Pham, Will Myers, Trent Grisham out in the outfield. Franchi Cordero is like that 4th outfielder. Josh Naylor as the DH. They've got a lot of young talent. They're just not proven yet, and that starting rotation, while has improved by grabbing Zach Davies, Haddock for another season, Dinelson Lamet's on his way back, it's still not there yet. Now, their bullpen's really good. Kirby Yates, Drew Pomeranz, Emilio Pagan, Craig Stammen. I just don't know how many leads they're going to have to protect. That's the issue. 3rd place. For 2nd place in the National League West, we got one of my dark horse picks this year. I like the Arizona Diamondbacks a lot in 2nd place. That team is very much improved. The Diamondbacks are my dark horse team. I love this roster so much, and I'll tell you why. Behind the plate, Carson Kelly and Stephen Vogt, that's a great platoon. First base, Christian Walker, a Gamecock. Second base, Ketel Marte, who's an MVP candidate. Nick Ahmed playing lockdown shortstop and actually offers something with the bat now. Third base, Eduardo Escobar, one of the more underrated third basemen in the league. All he does is mash. And then the outfield, one of the best defensive outfields, if not the best in baseball. David Peralta, Starling Marte, and Cole Calhoun, they're going to cover a lot of ground, play great defense out there. Cole Calhoun hit 30 homers casually last year. David Peralta's got some pop in his bat. Starling Marte's got some pop. They're all good players, all good athletes. They've got some good depth on the bench with Lamb and Crone. They've got Josh Rojas, Tim LaCastro. I love the build of this Diamondbacks offense. And then on the pitching side, casually good too. Madison Bumgarner, huge addition. Robbie Ray, Zach Gallen, who I am crazy high on. I think he's a Cy Young Award winner in the future, in the making. And then the bullpen, Archie Bradley's good. It's definitely the weakest part of their team, but I think that the Diamondbacks are going to be very successful. 2nd place. And then 1st place in the National League West, it's so obvious. They are the 2nd best team in baseball in my eyes. You got the Los Angeles Dodgers. So much to talk about with them. They're ridiculous. I mean, of course the Dodgers are 1st place. Will Smith behind the plate. Love Will Smith. He's so good. You got Muncy playing first base, who's incredible. Gavin Lux at 2nd base. We haven't seen a lot of him, but we know he's incredibly talented. Corey Seager at shortstop. Justin Turner at 3rd base. The Mr. Consistent. Very underrated. Very good. In the outfield, you got Jock Peterson, AJ Pollock, Cody Bellinger, Mookie friggin' Betts. And then the bench is just so deep with young talent. Matt Beattie. You got Chris Taylor, who's going to get sprinkled in there. You got Kike Hernandez, who can play every position. Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, Julio Urias, Alex Wood, Dustin May. 5 solid arms. I mean, like, they don't have the great big names in the bullpen, but they got some really talented pieces. Everyone knows they're one of the best teams in the league. I don't need to explain why they're in 1st place anymore. They're just good. You know it. So with the National League, what teams are making the playoffs? We've got the Dodgers coming in as the number 1 seed in the National League. Reds coming in at number 2. Braves coming in at number 3. And then the 2 wildcard teams, we're going to have the Mets at the number 4 spot and the Arizona Diamondbacks at the number 5. On to the awards for the National League teams, and then we'll address the World Series and the playoffs, finish everything off at the end. National League MVP, I'm liking Ronald Acuna Jr. a lot. I was really tempted to also pick Nick Castellanos, but Acuna is going to go off. From what we've seen thus far in the very, very short summer camp, I'm really scared of what Ronald Acuna is going to do as a Mets fan, because I'm just seeing some crazy numbers off the board from him. I think he's going to be the MVP. He's so talented. Acuna is going to be a special player. I think this is his breakout year, even though he's already been great. This is when he finally gets that MVP. National League Cy Young, as much as I'd love to pick Jacob deGrom for the 3rd year in a row, I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to go to Cincinnati Reds pitcher Luis Castillo. I don't know if you guys remember this, but last year he got off to a wildly hot start for the season, and I think he's going to do that again in 2020. Got one of the nastiest changeups in all of baseball. He makes it work against lefties, righties, whoever it is. Luis Castillo is filthy, and I think another year of growth for him is going to be huge. 2020 is his year where he gets that Cy Young Award. And then last but not least, for the Rookie of the Year voting, it's a little bit tough. You have Gavin Lux, you got Dustin May, you got some big names, but I'm actually going to change it up and go to the Philadelphia Phillies and give the Rookie of the Year to Alec Bohm. I think Bohm, who may not start the season on the roster, is going to get called up at some point. They're going to need that bat in the lineup. He's going to make an impact. He's a special player. I think he ends up winning Rookie of the Year in the National League. So the National League's done. It's time to move on to the American League and talk about where the teams are going to finish in those divisions in that league. Starting it off with the American League East, let's talk about the 5th place team right off the bat. You guessed it, it's the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles just aren't a good team, and unfortunately they lose Trey Mancini this year due to cancer. Hope for a quick and speedy recovery. Take their offense that was already weak, and you get rid of their best hitter. It's going to be even worse. Their pitching's not particularly great. John Means is good, but outside of that, the Orioles are still far away from being a team that can compete. 4th place in the division, it pains me to do this, but the Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox are a team that I want to root for. I want them to do better, but they have literally no pitching. I mean, they're rocking out there with Martin Perez, Nathan Eovaldi, and their bullpen's a complete mess. Their lineup, still very good. Vasquez was starting to hit last year. Devers, Bogarts are great on the left side of the infield. JD Martinez, Benintendi, they got Verdugo. They've got the bats, they just have no pitching, which is why I have them in 4th. 3rd place in the American League East, Toronto Blue Jays. They finally get to crack the top 3 of the American League East again. The Blue Jays improved a lot this offseason, and part of that improvement is that their young players now have another year under their belt. I expect improvements from Bichette, Vlad Guerrero, Kevin Biggio. Lourdes Gurriel started to step up. I love what they did on the pitching side of the baseball, grabbing Tanner Roark. They got Hyunjin Ryu. They made one major move and a lot of minor moves, but I think it's going to end up making them a better team. I think the Blue Jays are going to surprise some people. They're going to finish in 3rd. 2nd place in the American League East, ooh, you guys are going to be mad. New York Yankees, and it's not because I don't think they're good. I think they're going to have a silly good record. They might win close to 40 games. Just the team in 1st is a little bit better, but let's talk about why the Yankees are so good. The Yankees are really, really good. They are my #1 ranked team in baseball, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily locked to win the AL East. Yes, they have Garrett Cole, they have Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton. I fully expect them on paper to be great players, but as we know with a major league season, and this one being a weird 60-game season, there is a chance that stuff can go wrong. And honestly, I don't even anticipate that. It's just that the team in 1st place is going to go off this year. I have the Yankees almost winning 40 games. Judge, Glaber, LeMahieu, Voit, Gary Sanchez. I mean, the team's just absolutely loaded. They're just finishing in 2nd place. And then coming in 1st place, which I think might be a surprise to some people, but also a lot of people I think can get behind this. I'm on the Tampa Bay Rays bandwagon. The Rays are so good. The Rays are so good. The Rays are so good. The pitching staff might be the best in the American League East. Snell, Glasnow, Morton. You got Yarbrough. I mean, they got great arms and their bullpen's absolutely loaded. They're probably 1B to the Yankees is 1A for the best bullpen in baseball. Their lineup may not have those big names, but every single guy has a job and they do it extremely well. You're going to have the platoon of Margot and Kiermaier in center, which is going to work out. Meadows is an up-and-coming star. Hunter Renfroe was a great addition. Yandy Diaz is great at 3rd base. Brandon Lau is an up-and-coming 2nd baseman. G-Man Choi, Tsutsugo, Jose Martinez. This is a team that is built for a season like this. They're going to make strides. They're coming in 1st place. So a little bit of a shakeup in the American League East. Let's go ahead and move to the American League Central, which is going to see a bit of a shakeup as well. For the Central, we're keeping it easy. Number 5, 5th place, Detroit Tigers. I mean, the Detroit Tigers got a little bit better. They added Jonathan Scope and CJ Cron to that team, so they at least have 2 legitimate MLB caliber hitters now, but they're still not very good. They still have a lot of holes. Their future is coming. They've got some nasty pitching in the minors. It's just they have little to no offense right now. Miguel Cabrera is getting older. Tigers are not very good. They're in 5th place. 4th place team in the AL Central, also an obvious choice, the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City Royals have some fun players. You got Whit Merrifield. You got Jorge Soler, who's going to drop bombs. You got Hunter Dozier, Adalberto Mondesi. They're definitely a team that's in the rebuilding process. I don't think they're as bad as the Tigers. I think they have more talent, and I think that they're going to be a better team, but just like Detroit, they're not going anywhere anytime soon, so they're staying in 4th place in 2020. Now, for the 3rd place team in the AL Central, we're changing it up. We are going with the Cleveland Indians as a 3rd place team in the AL Central. With the Cleveland Indians, I just got a gut feeling they're 3rd place, like I said. Their pitching's good. You got Clevenger, you got Bieber, you got Carrasco, and the bullpen has some arms, but I don't know why. I'm just like not super high on them. Lindor, Jose Ramirez, Carlos Santana, they can't do all the heavy lifting, and right now that feels like how their offense is set up. Yes, they got Franmil Reyes, who's going to be a great power bat, but the outfield's just so weak. I don't expect Roberto Perez to have as good of an offensive season as he had in 2019. I just see issues with the Indians right now, so I got them finishing in 3rd. I just got a gut feeling. 2nd in the AL Central, one of the most fun teams that I visited this year in spring training, back when that was a thing, the Chicago White Sox. I'm very high on this team. Ooh, I like this White Sox team a lot. Now, the pitching, which is a little bit weird for me normally, isn't their strong suit, but they are going to score 100 runs a game. Their lineup is absolutely loaded. You got Grandal behind the plate. You got Abreu at 1st base. You got Tim Anderson at short. Yohan Moncada at 3rd base. Outfield, Eloy Jimenez, Nomar Mazara, Luis Robert. You got Edwin Encarnacion, who's going to DH. You got James McCann riding the bench. That team is so crazy deep offensively. They're going to score a lot of runs, and their pitching is good enough, or has the potential to at least be pretty good. Their bullpen has some nice arms. I like what the White Sox did this offseason. They were a fun team. They gelled really well in spring training while I was there. I'm going to ride that White Sox wave and put them in 2nd, which leads us now to the 1st place team in the AL Central. We're keeping it with the division winners of 2019, Minnesota Twins, who are a dangerous team. The Twins, I think, surprised a lot of people last year with the 1st place finish, but based on what we saw, they are here to stay. They might not have those massive names on the pitching staff. No Garrett Cole, Jacob deGrom type guys, but their pitching is good enough. And if you thought the White Sox offense was good, take a look at the Twins. Even better. Mitch Garver behind the plate. Miguel Sano is going to be playing 1st base. 2nd base, we got Arraez, who just hits for a crazy crazy high average. Maybe could even be a possible 400 average guy. Who knows? Jorge Polanco at short, Josh Donaldson, the bringer of rain at third. How do you add him to that lineup? Kepler, Buxton, Rosario. And they also have Nelson Cruz as their DH. Like, what? That lineup? Who do you get out? Barrios on the mound, Odorizzi. They've got a great bullpen. Taylor Rogers has been locked down back there. They're definitely the best team in that division in my eyes. Now, for the last and final division in baseball, we've got the American League West. We know about the cheaters out there. Will they be able to continue their reign over that division? Fifth place in the AL West, it's clear, it's obvious. The Mariners are the worst team in that division. I fully expect them to finish in fifth, but there's a lot of exciting stuff going on with the Mariners. So I told you you'd be excited about the Mariners this year, even though they're not going to be great. So let's think about the positives here with this team. So much young talent, but you got Kyle Lewis. You got Evan White, who's going to be playing first base. You got Justin Dunn on the mound. They're going to be missing Mitch Haniger, which is definitely going to hurt their offensive production. They're almost like a team, though, that you're seeing being sculpted in real time. They're going to be trying out a lot of different guys at a lot of different positions. If you're a Mariners fan, yes, you're not going to win a lot of games, but you're going to be able to find out what your future looks like, I think, this year, and be excited for the years to come. Fourth place, despite making some improvements this offseason, specifically to the pitching, I got the Texas Rangers. The Rangers made some moves this offseason, the big one being getting Corey Kluber. That was a huge addition to their pitching staff. Even coming off an injury, they gave up basically nothing, and we know that this team can hit, like big boppers at almost every single position. You got Gallo. They added the Todd father, who you know is going to have a big season. As much as I like to meme Greg Bird, I don't see him having a real impact. Rougned Odor still hits homers. They got Chirinos behind the plate. They got Willie Calhoun, who had a wildly good 80-game stretch last year. They got some young talent. Lance Lynn, Mike Minor, and the pitching staff. Jose Leclerc closing out the back end. They've definitely improved, but they're still not there yet for me, fourth place. For third place in the American League West, very, very close to second, I've got the Los Angeles Angels, who are going to be a dangerous team. The Angels are going to be really, really fun to watch this year, and not just because of Mike Trout. You actually get to see some Shohei Ohtani doing both pitching and hitting. He's going to have a crazy big impact. Wildly big. MVP, hint, hint. Anthony Rendon at third base. You got David Fletcher, who's the king, the GOAT. The pitching, they at least added some arms. They might not be aces, but Dylan Bundy, Julio Teheran, better than what they've had in the past. And you've got Hanzo Robles. I can't even believe I'm saying it, closing down the bullpen. Maybe Joe Adell comes up this year. I just like the Angels roster. It's not there yet, but they're going to be really competitive this year and fun to watch. Second place team in the American League West. I thought before the season started that they'd be first, the Oakland A's. The A's are second place in the American League West again for another season, and it's not because of them not being good. They're going to be very good in 2020. They're another one of these teams like the Rays who were built for a short season. It's just I think the Rays are them on steroids. First base, Matt Olson, one of the top 5 first basemen in the league. So talented, so good. Shortstop, you got Marcus Semien on a contract year, so you know he's going to perform. You got Matt Chapman, who's a top 5 third baseman in the league, holding down the corner there. Ramon Laureano in the outfield. You got Jesus Luzardo, who's going to be healthy this season, who is a Rookie of the Year candidate. He's disgusting. I love his stuff. Sean Manaea is going to be healthy. Good bullpen. The A's are a very legitimate team, which is why I have them in second place. And then winning the division for what feels like the, I don't know, 4th or 5th straight year in a row, I'm sticking with the cheaters, the Houston Astros. Still a very good team. Now, yes, the Astros, big scandal. And if the season started with fans, the Astros wouldn't be a first place team for me, but I think they actually benefit a ton by nobody being able to go to games. The boos won't be there. Their lineup is still absolutely loaded. Got Yuli Gurriel, you got Altuve, Correa, Bregman, Springer, Brantley, Yordan Alvarez. I mean, this lineup is disgusting. Pitching is going to be their big question. You still got Verlander and Greinke leading off the top 2, but then you got to rely a little bit on Lance McCullers coming off an injury. Does Forrest Whitley finally come up, make an impact? Jose Urquidy. Bullpen's still locked down. Roberto Osuna, despite being garbage human, is a great closer, and Ryan Presley is another really solid arm out there. There's been a lot of shakeups, a lot of turmoil in that Houston team, but they're still so talented on paper, they got to be first in the division. So the number 1 seed in the American League is going to be the Rays in my eyes. They are going to have a season. It's about time everyone starts to get on the Rays hype train. Number 2 seed in the American League is gonna be the Minnesota Twins. Third best record in the American League is gonna be the Houston Astros, and then the 2 wildcard teams are gonna be the Yankees as the number 4 in the top wildcard seed spot, and then the Chicago White Sox sneak into the playoffs as the second wildcard team, definitely being helped by a weak schedule with the Central, but I think they got enough to make the playoffs, so I'm believing in them. As for the awards, let's start it off with the American League MVP. Of course it's gonna be Mike Trout, but that's no fun. I'm not gonna predict Mike Trout because that's just boring. That's too easy. If Mike Trout didn't exist, who'd win the MVP? I'm sticking on his team, and I'm going with Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani is going to be able to pitch and hit this year. That is a legitimate thing that is going to happen, and if he pitches like we've seen in the past, and he hits like we've seen in the past, he has a chance to make the most impact out of any player in Major League Baseball this year without a doubt. To me, it feels like an obvious pick. I gotta go Shohei Ohtani. Like, if I'm a betting man, let me put $1,000 on Shohei Ohtani. American League Cy Young might have been robbed last year, but he's going to get it this year. $300 million man with the New York Yankees, Garrett Cole. He's just too filthy. He's too good. I've been watching the inter squad stuff with him these past couple days. He just goes out there and he still pumps. The dude's a winner. The dude's a gamer. I'm giving him the American League Cy Young. He's nasty. And then for Rookie of the Year, there's one clear, obvious choice in my eyes, and that's going to be Luis Robert. I mean, we saw the guy yesterday hit a home run falling down. He has silly power, silly good athlete. He's going to start the season on the team. I fully expect Luis Robert to be that AL Rookie of the Year and be a huge reason why the White Sox make the playoffs. So now let's talk about the World Series, the playoffs. We got the two wildcard matchups. We got the Mets hosting the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we got the Yankees hosting the Chicago White Sox. Both New York teams are winning. Mets over Diamondbacks, Yankees over White Sox. In the division series in the National League, you're gonna see the Mets match up against the Dodgers. You know I'm picking the Mets. I think the Mets match up well with the Dodgers, I really do, and we know that the Dodgers are just like historically bad in the playoffs. Mookie Betts doesn't perform in the playoffs. Cody Bellinger doesn't perform in the playoffs. Clayton Kershaw doesn't perform in the playoffs. They tend to choke. On the other side of the bracket in the National League, we then got the Braves going up against the Reds, and as much as I'm high on the Reds this year, I think the Braves are just too good. They're moving on to the championship series to play the Mets. In the American League, we got the Yankees going up against the Rays, and I'm picking the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm riding the Rays train. They are hot. They are good. This is what their team is built for. A 60-game season. They're going to do something special this year. I'm putting all my chips in on the Rays. They're beating the Yankees. And then between the Twins and the Astros playoff luck finally comes to an end. It'll be a 5-game series. It'll be a battle. I want to see this series happen. It'll be a lot of fun, a lot of offense to watch, but I don't think that the Astros pitching is going to be enough to beat the Twins. Twins moving on to the ALCS to play the Rays. So between the Rays and the Twins, who's moving on to the World Series to represent the American League? You know I'm picking the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm just super high on them. I got a feeling, and I'm going with it. The Rays are making the World Series as the American League team. And then the National League, we got the Mets and the Braves, which would be just like absolutely devastating for me because like, oh my goodness, the Braves again could ruin me and give me nightmares. But not this year. The Mets are moving through to the World Series. You knew it was happening. You clicked on this video. You know who I am. You know I'm putting the Mets in the World Series. Come on. Especially in a 60-game season, literally anything can happen. Which means the Mets and the Rays meet in the World Series. And let me get a drum roll, please. Winning the World Series in 7 games is going to be, oh, you know I'm going with the New York Mets again. That's right. We're picking the New York Mets to win the 2020 World Series in the 60-game season. I am sticking with it. I'm going with it. I did it in 2019. I'm doing it again in 2020. The New York Mets are winning the 2020 World Series. You heard it here. You gotta believe whatever phrase you want to say. And yes, I know the comments, biased. Oh, you're biased. Guess what? I'm doing it again. I'm picking the Mets to win the World Series. 7 games over the Tampa Bay Rays. When it happens, you're gonna come back to this video and you're gonna say, oh shit, I was very wrong. Mark was right. He did it again. The Mets are winning the 2020 World Series. He got something special cooking over there. Luis Rojas. He's going to lead us to the promised land. So those are my predictions for the 2020 MLB season. I want to know what you guys think. I already know. There's going to be people mad in the comments. But these are predictions videos. I'm not going to be someone who just picks chalk. I'm not going Yankees, Dodgers, and the Dodgers win. That's boring. Why would I want to predict something that's just boring to watch? We have a unique season, 60 games. I want it to be exciting. I want it to be fun. These are just my predictions. I don't think the Mets are the best team. I don't think that the White Sox are necessarily the second best team in that division. But in a 60-game season, anything can happen, and I'm rolling the dice this year. I'm going craziness. At the end of the day, I'm excited that baseball's back. I can't wait for the season to start, and I can't wait for you guys to trash talk me. I love the back and forth. It's awesome. Give me your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy the video, even if you're angry at me picking the Mets, drop a like on it, leave some support. Subscribe to the channel if you do love baseball content. I'm going to be uploading baseball content all year long on here. This is going to be a spot that you want to be subscribed to for the 60-game season so you don't miss out on anything. Remember to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all the stuff. Links are in the description down below. And that's where we're going to wrap up today's video. You guys know the drill from here on out. You know what? I normally say YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, but we're going to change it up. You want to see my 2019 predictions? If you didn't see them last year, here's that video. And then over on this side, I don't know what I'm going to throw here yet, but there will be a video, so check them out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Baseball's back. Mets 2020 World Series champions. Bye.